Hey everybody, welcome to our Facebook Live tonight. And I'm Maggie Yu, MD, functional and holistic medicine physician. And there's a lot of people joining me tonight. These are some of the participants in our program, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally right now. And tonight we're giving you a sneak peek, a snapshot into what some of the participants are experiencing in our program. Some of these people have been in our program a week, some have been 3-4 weeks, and some have been 6 or 7 weeks. So I'd love to have you guys be able to see a cross section of what people are experiencing in our program, real life participants. And I'm really thankful for the generosity of all the people that are willing to participate in here tonight. But there are just so many wins that we shared tonight that I cannot wait for you guys to hear some of them and for some of our participants to share their real experiences with you. And what I'd love to do is, first of all, I would just like everybody to do a quick introduction to tell us what week. Oh, actually, before we do that, when we have a comment on, if you could just give me a quick introduction, we'll do alphabetically of who the participant of our program and what that autoimmune diagnosis you're dealing with and what week you're in our program, that'd be great. So I think alphabetically, we're going to be starting with Amy, and then we'll be going to Amy, Annette, then Dahlia, and we'll go alphabetically. So Amy, let's have you introduce yourself really quickly with diagnosis and what week of the program you're in.
I have Crohn's disease.
And what week of the program are you in, Amy?
I think I'm 6 or 7.
Okay, you shared a big win with us tonight. Would you be willing to share what you shared with the rest of us tonight?
Sure. I am sleeping through the night. That's a big one. But my neck is 50% better. I could barely move it. My thumbs, I could barely move them, and they're like 100% better. So that was the first week. And my water.
The first week, your thumb pain, like how long was your thumb pain bothering you before the program?
Probably 3 months, severe.
Okay. So within the first week, your thumb pain was better?
Yes.
Okay.
And watery eyes gone, which was chronic for probably 7 years.
Okay, people say we never give away our secrets. I want to know, what did you do in that first week to cause your thumb pain to be gone and for your watery eyes to be gone within a week? Inquiry minds want to know.
Well, lots of water, and I kept track of it. I always drink lots of water, but I actually kept track of it, and I know that it made a huge difference for me. Also, my blood sugar at night, I think that was the one part of my day that it was off because it helped me sleep through the night. So I think that helped me mentally, everything. So, but drinking the water, I think, has made the most difference.
So initially just drinking water, and a lot of you guys have participated in joining us in the water challenge. And I tell people that's literally the first 10 days of our program. So congratulations, Amy, for just even the first week having your thumb pain gone. Right now, you said you're in week 6, neck pain, 50%.
Yep.
Congratulations. And then Annette, can you do a quick intro on what week you're in?
Hi, everyone. So this is week 6 for me. And one of my main issues is Raynaud's, but I also have a lot of joint and muscle pain, fatigue, cold all the time. But things are changing. So in week 3 or 4, the pain in my feet were gone. So I was excited about that. I've gone gluten-free. I know that's helping. I'm doing the melt method, starting with my hands due to the Raynaud's, and I'm doing that daily. So I'm hoping to see some improvement from that as well.
Thanks, Annette. And then next we have Dahlia. Can you give us your diagnosis and what week of the program you're in right now, Dahlia?
Hi, my name is Dalila, and my diagnosis is lichen sclerosis, and I become better, like 7% better with my flares in the 2nd week. And after I start using, I quit gluten-free.
Mm-hmm.
So everything becomes better in my life after I start the program.
You said 70 or 7% better?
70%.
Okay, what's one thing with the 70% that, if there's one symptom that you think has really improved, what would that be? What makes you say it's 70% better?
That's a lot of itchiness.
Itchiness, okay, with the lichen sclerosis. Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you. And then next we have Jamie.
My diagnosis is ulcerative colitis that I've had for about 13 years, and I am just starting week 5 of this program.
Okay, awesome. And then we have Julia.
Hi, I'm Julia from Houston, and I came in with a diagnosis of eczema of over 40% of my body. The eczema is still here. However, in the first 3 weeks of going gluten-free, I felt so much better. My gut was so much better, and my foot pain was gone. I had also had thumb pain, which is weird, and that's gone away now. Then we started doing water, and that helped a whole lot more things. And goodness gracious. And then I started supplements, and then supplements gave me my energy back. And I'm here at week 6.5, 7. I'm at week 7. And gosh, I feel like a new woman. People that know me that I was an energetic karaoke queen for years, and then the last 1.5 years, 2 years, I've just petered away. I have no energy for it. My drive was gone, and it's coming back, and I'm super stoked and excited.
Julia, I love it. I'm so excited for you. And then you mentioned, you said your energy was back, and I want to ask, what's something like your week 6 of the program? What's something that you can do effortlessly today that even a month ago you thought was impossible?
Well, something I didn't mention earlier on the call was that I did yard work. I raked my whole yard front and back and weed and feed, and I did the whole thing and watered it all in. That was like unheard of. I couldn't have done that. I could not have done that. I had way too much exhaustion and tiredness. Couldn't even get off the couch. But I did that this past weekend.
Congratulations, Julia. I love it.
Thank you.
Just another one I was surprised with today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Laura, and then Viet. Laura, go for it.
Hi, my name is Laura. My diagnosis is Crohn's disease. And, some of the biggest wins I've had, the biggest one is by far having some hope back. Talking to a bunch of the other members in the group and, realizing that everything I've experienced in the last 15 to 20 years is not unique to me has been one of the biggest reliefs, I think, of finding this group. I've been able to, travel, and by travel, I mean pack up my car and relocate across the country, which is something I wouldn't have been able to do even a month or two ago, and I've only completed week 1. And, just in week 1 with the water and being gluten-free and having, the hope and the support and being excited to actually have a goal and be looking at the future is something that I haven't done in a very long time. And I have so many wins that I could, stay on for a long time. And, the last couple of days I've spent time with my best friend and listening to your videos and kind of nodding our heads along and arguing about why isn't the whole world doing this, and why has, the world not figured out that all of these people need all of these pieces. And, it's something that we've struggled with alongside of each other for a long time. And so much so that we don't even have doctors anymore. We've just been looking and trying to put all the pieces together ourselves. And I'm so relieved that you've done this work and all this research, so we finally have a place to go and some direction to actually figure out what it is that we do with these pieces that we've been struggling with. So the amount of relief that I feel and the stress off my back for having found you and this program is, there's just, I can't even put the words in, I don't even have the words for it.
Brought up a really good point. Today we posted Laura's comment in our private Facebook group where our program is, and she was talking about, and this is a really good point because we actually had a question in our group from Angie S and Julian G, and they were talking about, just because I have a DO or a naturopath or a functional MD, doesn't mean I have good care for my autoimmunity. And a lot of people assume that because someone is labeled a functional medicine doctor or a holistic doctor or a natural doctor, that they are an expert in autoimmunity. But you brought up a really good point because you said that in your post that your friend has been seeing a functional medicine doctor, right?
Mhm.
And so what's the difference between her seeing a functional doctor and then the education in the program that you're in? I know there was a point of contention about there and something to clarify that whole situation in your post. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. And it's something that I've experienced as well, because I've seen functional medicine doctors too, a handful of them. And what we have found is that behind all of that, really what keeps their doors open or what their driving force is that they are in the supplement business. And so they're either, they're driven by, supplement distribution, and even herself, she's a pharmacist by trade, and that's not what she does anymore, but looking at being educated by, Metagenics and Glutagenics and all these places, even her looking at that, they only want you to represent one brand or one thing. And she was really frustrated by that in that she was looking to help people and was really just not bought into that. Like, what if I think a different brand is better for people? Or what if, I think something different is better for people? That doesn't make sense. That's not fair. And that's not what is in the best interest of people.
Well, I like this question too, because for me, what my passion is around education. And
Right.
what I think is really important is the use of actual data to support people in their food and lifestyle choices and in their supplementation choices. And I'd love anybody that could speak to this. How valuable has been the role of using data in our program and personalized to you in your decisions about supplementation? How big of a deal has that been for any of you? Anyone wants to speak to it, raise your hand. Vit? Okay, let's meet you and unmute you.
Hi, so I'm Vit. I'm in week 6 of this program, and I came in dealing with psoriasis and eczema. And last week and this week just had some aha moments with some of the data I've been collecting through the test results. And with food intolerance, didn't realize that I'm intolerant to chocolate. So that's something new that I never even thought about. And then just tonight through the thyroid testing, we caught an early onset of Hashimoto's, which I never would have guessed was something that was even a possibility. So those are just two huge, just mind blown moments for me. And I'm just learning something new every week. So this program's been amazing for me.
I want to ask you something, Vit. A lot of people think well, what's the big deal that you didn't know you had Hashis? What's the big deal? And, you may not be able to answer this because you're not 20 years down the road with Hashimoto's, diagnosing it 20 years later with permanent damage to anything. But I want to ask you, what has it meant for you? And I know you've had very little time to process because you just found out about it tonight. What has it meant for you to know that you actually have been dealing with an underlying issue of Hashis this whole time?
I mean, for me, having the symptoms that I have, but not understanding why or what is causing that. Now knowing what is my diagnosis, I can now research and learn more about it. Because I mean, if I don't know what's causing my issues, I can't even figure out a solution to it. So now that I know what it is, it's a little easier to figure out what I need to do to make things better for me. So that's kind of my biggest thing, is just knowing what the heck is it that's causing these symptoms.
I love it. Thank you, Vit.
No
My
problem.
next question a lot of people have for us is that this is a group program. We're all in a group. We're on a Brady Bunch meeting right now. And this is how our program works. Every single week, we have several hours like this together. And this is a very out of the box format for people used to one-on-one dealing with a physician behind closed doors. And I want to ask any of you that are wanting to answer this question for the group, for our Facebook group, which is, why is a group format inferior, a neutral, or superior method of getting amazing outcomes in your health, and why? Julie, I would love for you to answer that.
Oh my gosh. Listen, guys, community is everything. Just knowing that there are other people out there going through the same things you're going through, that are going through the doctor mill of diagnosis or wrong diagnosis after wrong diagnosis, and nobody's caring what's happening to you, or nobody's caring, what am I trying to say? Nobody's trying to get to the gist of what's happening to you. And they're just putting new labels on you, and they're calling you crazy and saying, whatever. But the community that is in this format is so refreshing, because you get to look at other people's faces and see their struggle and get to hear what's happening to them. And a lot of times it will enlighten what's happening to you. And sometimes you don't always have the vocabulary to articulate what's happening to you, but then you hear somebody else say it and it's like, oh my gosh, and a huge light bulb goes off and the answers come. So I cannot express to you how wonderful it is to sit in a big group of ladies and gentlemen who are struggling with autoimmune disease, and it's also new to everyone. And it's just so empowering, and it's such a great format.
You know what's kind of cool? I thought Vit's case tonight was actually really a great teaching case because, you know, Vit is young and didn't come into this program thinking he has autoimmunity and just realized tonight he has an issue with autoimmunity. And in the same group, we have Brian, who's 20, 30 years ahead of him with a diagnosis of Hashimoto's also. And it was just really great. I think the journey that Vit and Brian are going to take, Vit seeing Brian's results and his journey through this program, it's going to be huge learning for him. I think there's something to be said. I call this process hyper learning, where you actually learn 10 times faster. Because I'm just going to ask for people who've been in this program for 1 week. Okay. For anybody in here who's been in here less than 1 or 2 weeks. Okay. My question for you is, how much learning have you done in just the last week alone compared to all the years you've been going to doctors for? Okay. I know Laura had an answer, so I'm going to unmute Laura and have her answer that question first, and anyone else can contribute after that.
Oh my gosh, you asked that question right as I was coming back on. The amount of learning is unbelievable. I think if I had to think of how much I've learned from the years of Western medicine and all my doctors combined, I couldn't. I mean, it has to be 20 years worth of doctor visits, you know, just in the last 7 days in the information that I've actually learned, because between, you know, handouts and bonus information and videos and being on with the others, and the live calls with you, you know, listening to people's questions, even if it doesn't pertain to me, you know, I'm hearing things about, you know, how does cardiovascular stuff tie into all of these things, like things that I wouldn't have thought were even related, because I'm thinking we're here just about autoimmune, and then not realizing, like, duh, it's the entire human body. Of course, it's going to be, you know, all tied together. And to be on the call and hear somebody like that, like, discover that he finally has a diagnosis, and not that the diagnosis is a big deal, but for him to have found it at his age, or to read his own, you know, information, and to be a part of that was the coolest thing ever, you know, to hear everybody cheering him on, and to know that, you know, he potentially saved his own life tonight, like, was a really cool experience to be a part of. And, you know, I wanted to speak to the community part a little bit, and like, being in a group like this versus individually, you know, not only is it, you know, being part of the group to learn from, but the friendships, like even a weekend, you know, somebody in the group with, you know, the same diagnosis that I have was, you know, somebody I was messaging or talking to before I even joined, just to ask a question about a recipe she'd posted on your main site here. And so that's somebody that, you know, we had exchanged some, you know, symptom questions and some frustration questions, and, you know, some things before we were even joining and before we even took the first calls. And so then it became a like, hey, I'm excited I took my first call, and hey, I'm excited I got in the program. And like, now we're in the same pod together. And like, that's a really cool thing to have that experience, and now like get to go through it together. So, you know, that is making the difference. It's not something you get when you have, you know, 11 doctor's appointments, certainly not with 11 different people who don't communicate, not with, you know, 11 different people in different, different medical programs that may or may not take your insurance and never give you an answer and never, you know, heal you. So, I mean, all of these things that have happened in the last, 8 days, like are just an unbelievable amount of education and understanding now, not only being gluten-free for 8 days, but understanding how and why and what it's going to do, and being convinced, not just you telling me it's important to be gluten-free, go do it, but for me to understand in those couple of days, like, why that's so significant and why that's a choice I'm going to make, because that's what needs to be done in order for me to be healed or healing, is really significant. That's not a thing that anybody's ever been able to accomplish in 15 years of trying to do this.
Okay, I love it. And to me, it's like 15 years of hell, and that's short for a time frame for a lot of people. Some
Right.
20, 30, 40 years of dealing with autoimmune, multi-symptom hell, multi-doctor hell, and the bills and torture and suffering of dealing with all of that. So for
Right.
me, I love the time frame with which we're able to turn things around in a community setting like this that's educational and personalized data based. But here's a big whopping question. I'm seeing people chiming in. Britt Larson is, Britt L is chiming in. Lorenda is chiming in. Jenny M is chiming in. We have a lot of people watching us right now. Thank you. And those of you who are watching right now, if you can let us know what autoimmune struggles you're dealing with, that'd be really great. I want to be hitting all the points. If you have any questions, go ahead and post it in the comment section right now. My question for you guys is, a lot of people think that how can you in one program deal with every autoimmune diagnosis? Okay. And my answer to that is simple, but I also want feedback from people who are in here, which is, to me, it doesn't matter which autoimmune target is the target that you have. Because once the autoimmune disease is attacking one part of your body, the likelihood you have hundreds of other targets is 100%. Doesn't even matter. To me, what ties everything together is the underlying principles of what causes this in our protocol. I walk people through the wheel. Every single symptom that you have can be tied to one of the pillars that's triggering and causing your autoimmune attack. So my question is, what has been the experience for you being in a learning environment in a group program like this, where people have tons of other diagnoses? Is this a negative or is this a positive experience to be in a program that deals with every autoimmune diagnosis known to man?
Positive.
Tell me
Absolutely.
about that, Julia. Go ahead and answer that.
Because a lot of times you don't realize what you don't realize. Like I found out 2 weeks ago that I have a Hashimoto's issue. And then I have, I came in, the program was at pre-diabetes, so learning about the blood sugar was huge for me. And then learning about liver health and the food mapping and all of that and how that all ties in together. And that people that, have terrible gut issues. My daughter has Hashimoto's. I found out, but she knew from after having her baby she had it. But just being able to dialogue, and now I can talk with her about that, and it's just a huge deal. I have a pod mate, Paula, who's been really, really sick, and listening to everyone who has ulcerative colitis talk and how they're working through it has been really helping me at least say the right things to encourage her to keep going. And I guess that goes to the mindset, you get so bogged down and discouraged when you're alone in your own pain and your own misery and your own disease. But just knowing that there are other people out there that are going through those things, and that you can hear them talk through it and you can hear them get answers, is such an encourager. It's a major boost to whatever you're going through.
Thank you, Julia. So tonight, guys, everybody in the Facebook group, I really just wanted to give you a snapshot of some of the people in our program, participants in our program right now, some of their wins, some of their ahas, and what kind of training they go through every single week with us. I'm not seeing a lot of remaining questions left over. If anybody has any parting words from here, you can raise your hand. Otherwise, I am going to be ending this. I just wanted to give everybody a snapshot inside peek of where our participants are at right now. And I want to thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. And thank you to all of you for joining us. I know we just had a 2-hour training session and you guys stayed on to be live in the group. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.